Good evening. It's now 6:30, and I call to order the regular meeting of the Victoria City Council. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The first item on our agenda this evening is announcements. The City Council will hold its next workshop on Monday, September 22nd at 5 p.m. to review the proposed amendments to Chapter 12 of the City Code, which deal with property maintenance, trees, vacant buildings, and nuisances. This discussion is part of our efforts to review and update our entire City Code. The Fire Department is hosting a community blood drive on Tuesday, September 16th from noon to 6 p.m. at the Victoria Recreation Center. To schedule an appointment, please call 1-800-RED-CROSS or visit redcrossblood.org. We also invite everyone to visit our community events webpage to learn more about the ongoing engagement opportunities happening throughout September, including our first ever Park After Dark event on Friday, September 26th from 6 to 9 p.m. at Bayfront Park. Check out the city's website for additional information. The next order of business is to adopt the final agenda. Council, can I get a motion to adopt the final agenda?
Motion to adopt the final agenda.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item on our agenda is the open forum. This is the opportunity for anyone to address the council on an item that is not on the agenda and not in application form that will be coming to the council at a future date. No one has registered in advance to speak this evening, but if there's anyone in the audience who would like to address the council on an item that is not on the agenda or in application form coming to the council at a future date, please step forward. Seeing no one, we'll move on to the next item on our agenda, which is the consent agenda. Consent agenda items are routine, administrative, and do not require deliberation or are housekeeping items that are required by law. They're approved with one vote unless someone requests an item to be considered separately. Ms. Hardy, does staff wish to pull any consent agenda items for separate discussion and vote this evening?
None from staff, Madam Mayor.
Is there a member of the council wishing to pull any item from consent agenda? Or anyone in the audience that wishes to pull an item from the consent agenda? Seeing none, I will ask for a motion to approve our consent agenda.
Motion to adopt the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The first item on our regular agenda this evening is item 6.1, which is to consider a rezoning for Victoria Gateway East Commercial Development. And presenting on that item this evening is our city planner, Brian McCann. Mr. McCann, welcome.
Thank you, Mayor and Council members. Tonight we'll be looking at Victoria Gateway East Commercial Development. You may know this one as the Hometown Bank Development, which has come forward a few times over the last few years. Their requests include a preliminary plat, comprehensive plan amendment, conditional use permits, zoning text amendment, and a rezoning application. So they're right in the middle of our three-step major subdivision process at preliminary plat, where major entitlements are granted, such as CUP's variances, and then after this, they will still have to formulate the final plat and bring that back to the council for consideration. So I mentioned this one has been reviewed a few times. There were sketch plats back in 2021, and the newest just this past January in 2024. And then a preliminary plat was considered last June. It never made it to council at that time. It was rescinded before council consideration due to staff comments on their design. So the location and area, it's just over 4 acres adjacent to Highway 5. It's northeast of the fire station. It's downtown is just to the west of the site across Highway 5. To the right here is some property owned by the MCWD, and then some adjacent residential properties to the south as well. So for the proposed uses for the site, they're looking at 2 different structures here. The first one being a combined coffee shop and bank with drive-throughs. That would be a 2-story building. The anticipated users are Hometown Bank and Mocha Monkey. And then the other structure would be a 2-story medical office building, which is anticipated to be Ridgeview Medical, but the applicant has stated that that's not guaranteed yet. That's just the prospective user. So at the existing conditions, it's a currently vacant property with grasses and rolling hills. You can see there's about 30 to 40 feet of a drop off the back of the fire station down to the north side of the site. And there are also wetlands present around 3/4 of the property's edges as well. In our comprehensive plan, it's guided for low-density residential and right-of-way. The applicant is proposing a comprehensive plan amendment to change that guidance to downtown mixed use. The downtown mixed use allows smaller scale retail or office buildings, and the intent is to improve on comfortable and safe environment for pedestrians and cyclists with strong links to trail amenities. So here is a visual representation that was included in your packet in the resolution for the comprehensive plan amendment. They would just be changing the areas in yellow to red to match the areas across Highway 5 as well as the dental clinic just to the north. So with the comprehensive plan amendment, they are also proposing to rezone the property. It's currently zoned R1 low density residential. They are proposing a central business district zoning district to match our other areas in downtown. A couple different uses in that district come into play here. The accessory drive-through or drive-in uses are a conditional use in our zoning code. Medical and dental clinics, offices, restaurants, and financial institutions are all permitted uses though. So a conditional use permit is required for the drive-throughs, but everything else is outright allowed. This property is outside of the Shoreland Overlay District. A lot of our downtown area is encompassed in that, which means restrictions on open space, setback. I just thought it would be important to include this slide because none of that comes into play here because it is outside of the Shoreland District. So we also did not have to run this by the DNR as well. Here on the image on the left, you can see what was previously proposed back with Planning Commission. This never made it to council last year, but they had proposed intersecting drive-through here with the coffee site looping around the building and then the bank drive-through coming through the parking lot. They've since updated their design with the image on the right here. They've altered those drive-throughs immensely. They've also relocated the positioning of the buildings. So on the image on the left, you can see the medical office was central to the site. Now they've pushed it up as close to Highway 5 as they can, as well as the coffee and bank. They've also incorporated landscaped islands for parking lots, as well as some additional screening measures for properties to the south and east. Here's a closer look just for reference with all those items that I mentioned. It's also worth noting that they do have a retaining wall on the east side here running the length of the property because of those 40-foot elevation grade differences that I mentioned. And then they also have another retaining wall adjacent to Highway 5 planned here. So for the preliminary plat, they're proposing 2 outlots and 2 regular lots. The outlot A, highlighted in red here, is consisting of north wetlands, buffers, and a stormwater pond with drainage and utility easement over it. Outlot B is over here, highlighted in green, with drainage and utility easement over it, and that's for wetland buffers. And then the 2 buildable lots, the medical office in blue with portions of the parking lot and half of the private driveway from Highway 5. And then lot 1 here with the bank and coffee site with the other half of that private entrance with the additional parking. So they have 3 conditional use permit requests for you to consider this evening. The first one is related to the drive-in or drive-throughs that I mentioned earlier. We have 3 very specific provisions in our zoning code right now related to this site and the use. The first one being that no structure, parking area, or driveway will be within 100 feet of any portion of a residential district. In their proposed plan, parking is within 100 feet of residential properties. And then the second item is that it needs 2 access points from a public road. In this case, there is only 1. So as part of this conditional use permit request, they've also submitted a zoning text amendment to change this section of our zoning code, to change the language to be an abutting residential district or a private street. So staff are supportive of these proposed changes. It works for the development. In this instance, we don't anticipate any additional future private roads in our central business district or commercial areas. So this really will be specific just to this property, but it works well in the code overall, and it satisfies the conditional use permit requirement in the last slide as well. And then conditional use permits 2 and 3 are for our CBD design standard deviation. So we have a standard in our code for a 0-foot lot line for 65% of the building facade to be along a road. That's just not possible here with the wetland constraints. So they are proposing conditional use permits to deviate for those standards. As far as we can tell, all of those standards meet our general conditional use permit standards in our zoning code, which I've highlighted below here. Moving on to the site plan review, looking at parking first and foremost, we broke down each type of use. So looking at lot 1 here for the banks and financial institutions and restaurants without liquor, per our code, they would need 57 spaces. They're proposing 39. But alternatively, with the medical office building, they would be required 78 spaces, but they're proposing 98. So with a shared parking between the 2 sites, they actually exceed the minimum requirement by 2 spaces. And our central business district encourages shared parking, so this is a situation where that would work well. Looking at the landscaping, they've incorporated boulevard trees where possible, foundation plantings. They aren't required to have any buffers or open space minimum requirements, so they meet all of our landscaping standards. Additionally, staff requested relocation of some of the trees that were within those 2 outlots that I highlighted earlier. The applicant did comply with that in the latest plan set, so we don't have any trees in outlots B or A up to the north. For tree preservation, they are proposing about 81% removal. There weren't many trees on the site, so this was expected. Their replacement obligation comes out to about 130 inches or 52 replacement trees, which they've incorporated into the landscape plan. For the architecture, they are proposing for the bank and coffee building, precast concrete, asphalt shingles, all of our exterior material types that we want consisting of high quality, also providing breaks in the variation of the facade, and some additional glass on the main level compared to the upper levels. And you can see that also mimicked in the image on the bottom here with the medical office tenant. Overall, both of those are compliant with our minimum central business district design standards. And here are some renderings that were in your report for the Hometown Bank and Coffee building. And then here as well for the medical office tenant with that retaining wall that I mentioned a few slides back. Regarding their signage, they are each proposing 2 wall signs as well as an entrance sign. Directional signage was also noted on their site plan, so we'll take a closer look at all of that with a building permit when it comes in. They are also going to have a shared pylon sign right off of Highway 5 here. As I mentioned, we'll review that signage as well when a building permit comes in. For parkland dedication and pedestrian connections, our Parks and Recreation Committee did review the prior sketch plat that was submitted. At that time, they agreed that the cash fee in lieu of land made the most sense for this area. So when they proceed with final plat, we are expecting a cash fee in lieu of land for this. And then for pedestrian connections, you can see I've highlighted the sidewalks connecting between the 2 sites, as well as the connection to the future trail along Highway 5, which also has a crosswalk into our existing downtown. Then for Highway 5, initially, it's anticipated that they'll have a right-in, right-out for the site. And then in the future, after construction of the roundabout, that will be their main entrance and exit. Timing for that is underway. It's anticipated between 26 and 27. We did get comments from MnDOT on this proposal. They just wanted a traffic signage plan, and that the applicant should be aware that they have to move through permit review processes for them as well. So pretty minor comments from MnDOT on this. For grading and stormwater management, they have to meet the MCWD rules. They have to put wetlands and buffers into outlots, which the applicant has done. And then due to the lack of public streets, the stormwater management is located in drainage and utility easements, which will be privately maintained in accordance with the MCWD standards. For utilities, the water supply and the sanitary sewer would both be extended from the systems adjacent to Highway 5. They do have public facilities platted within drainage and utility easements, so you can see the utility lines are within the dashed lines, including main lines and hydrants. With that, a public hearing was held with the Planning Commission at their regular meeting last Tuesday. It was properly noticed and no members of the public attended. Staff did receive one anonymous email prior to the Planning Commission meeting just stating concerns about light, noise, traffic in the area. But we did not receive any other comments. And then Planning Commission discussion mostly revolved around the types of medical services that are anticipated for that medical office building, as well as the property elevations and potential impacts to those surrounding single-family property owners. There was a lot of talk about the possibility of including these lots as public parking during off hours, as well as incorporating electric vehicle charging spaces. And then just general questions regarding the Highway 5 construction timing and potential safety impacts related to that crosswalk. With that, I have a few questions here to help guide discussion if needed. They were included in your report. Otherwise, we do have 5 motions this evening, so when the time comes, we should take those one by one so that the clerk can get the record for those. Otherwise, staff can stand for questions, and we have representatives of the application in the audience as well.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. McCann. Can we go back to the page where we want to, you have your questions to consider? Very good. Okay. At this time, I open the floor for council discussion. Council, any questions, comments on this proposal?
Just
Councilmember Reif.
on the traffic, noise, and light for the residential lots adjacent, I know there were some changes made recently by the applicant, if they could talk to that. And
There's a lot of finger pointing going on. Welcome. Please state your name for the record,
Mayor and
please.
Council. This is Steve Zabrowski from Landform Professional Services, the civil engineer on the project. The previous application, I don't know that we made it as far to speak to you all about some of these issues, but we were keen to the lighting concerns on site, and the fixtures that we selected have a mounting height of 22.5 feet in height, I believe, and the site sits dramatically lower than the adjacent residential properties, approximately 37-ish feet below. In addition, there's a retaining wall on the south side of the site, which will help screen some of the lighting factors. Again, they're all downcast lights here as well. So we're not concerned about the lighting. We think we've resolved any of those issues. As far as the traffic concerns, this is a typical commercial development which fits within the zoning. We have no additional traffic concerns. The roundabout should provide ample access to the property, as well as our reconfiguration of the drive-throughs we think also helps sort of mitigate any conflicts on site. The previous design had that intersecting weave design, which we've eliminated from the design here. So we have dedicated lanes for the bank and the coffee on site. So we think that with these revisions, we've resolved those issues. And then we don't anticipate, again, any extraneous noise from the properties. Again, I think the noise concern that was discussed at the previous meeting was concerning, ambulances or emergency services for the medical office, but, that may be, but we're also adjacent to a fire station here too, so I don't anticipate it to be any more of a nuisance than, would otherwise be with the adjacent neighbors. So with that, we have the rest of our development team here as well that can also answer any additional questions.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Council, other questions?
I have a few just regarding
Councilmember
construction
Patterson.
and that sort of thing. Is this close enough where we're going to need to stack geofoam and that sort of thing within the watershed area?
Does this look like a question for our engineer, Ms. Guerin? It's lucky you're in the audience this evening.
Sorry, I was hoping Brian would be able to answer it.
He's not an engineer.
Not my specialty, unfortunately.
Good
Councilmember.
evening,
Ms.
Mayor
Guerin,
and members
please.
of the City Council. I think what Councilmember Pedersen is referring to is the roadway along Highway 5 there. For those of you that were here for a long time, settled for years and years and years, so the roadway in that area is constructed with geofoam. So I am certain that the folks from Landform have done plenty of soil borings and have figured out what they need to do within the site to construct the buildings accordingly. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
I know the former fire station is going to be right next door. Did Chief Shoger have any concerns about accessing any of these locations?
Mayor and council member, the fire department did look at the plan set that is in front of you tonight. They did not have any specific concerns regarding turn radii for their fire trucks or access or anything.
Excellent. And we haven't had comment from the Minnehaha Creek Watershed District yet regarding impacts. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. With the construction of the parking lot, we're going to be underparked once the coffee shop and proposed bank go into place. Are we planning to build all of the parking lot or the parking access when we're building the bank and coffee shop, or are we going to wait until we start construction on the office complex before we build the rest of the parking lot? Because I'd love to see it overparked and then possibly find a way to use that for public purposes.
Mayor and council member, that's a good question. The applicant's here to answer.
Please, and please introduce yourself for us.
Good evening. My name is Brian Seiler, partner with Headwaters Development. Mayor, council members, thanks for the opportunity to be here tonight. As far as parking, I think the report mentions that it could be a phased development, phase 1 and phase 2. Right now, our intent is actually to construct both those phases simultaneously. So parking would be built all at one time. If that for some reason would not occur, we would also be interested in building the additional parking just to have it serve the bank. And I'm sure they're here tonight too. I'm sure that would also be their intent or wish, is to have parking adequate to serve their business as well.
Very good. Thank you. Councilmember Pedersen, anything else?
I guess that would be one thing that I'd like staff to ask and work with Hometown, if there's opportunities for public parking there down the road. Again, got a lot of steps to go through before we get there, but you get it. That's good for me right now. Thank you for the opportunity.
Great.
Councilmember
Roberts.
We heard some concerns about traffic noise. The bank, I'm assuming, is going to have normal bank hours, so it's going to be daytime use. Mocha Monkey, I'm assuming, is similar type hours, probably not open in the evening. I know the medical building is kind of tentative, so are we thinking that's more office building for medical, or is it going to be could it be potentially urgent care? I know you mentioned ambulance, right, which we have a fire station right there, but I'm just curious. I feel like if the way it's looking, we're not, this isn't going to be nighttime use type stuff. It's going to be more daytime, so there's not going to be that issue of
Yeah, no,
Mr.
that's
Styler, please.
That's fair. I think the coffee user would be done by 6 p.m. and the bank certainly would be done by 6, if not before then. And then as far the medical use, I don't foresee this being an emergency facility by any means. Could there be urgent care? I can't stand up here and say 100% that there won't be an urgent care component, but I don't see it being in and out of ambulances or emergency vehicles.
Very good, thank you.
Yep.
My only other comment would just be, I know it's been a while to get here, and so I think this is a testament to the work that developers and city staff do, right? Like, I think we were all excited about Mocha Monkey and Hometown Bank, right, and having these options here, but it wasn't perfect. We didn't, there were things that weren't, didn't meet our standards, but you guys were willing to work with us, and we were more than happy to work with you to get to a point where I think we have a product that should be taking care of most concerns that residents might have, and I think it, brings a lot to the table. So I'm happy with where we got to.
Yeah, and I think, from my perspective, this rezoning that we're doing, I think it's currently zoned as single family, which never made sense to me. This always seemed like a great commercial development for me as well, and I think you did a really great job bringing a beautiful entrance into our community. I think it's going to be great. So do we have some questions we need to answer, or are we ready for our motions? Let's take a look here. So I think council is in agreement that commercial is desired over residential for this property. It looks like all the CUPs and conditional uses have been satisfied, and nothing looks terrible on that. The zoning text amendment, I think, supports what we're trying to get to here as well. Site layout looks like it functions great. We love this second iteration better. And then we've already discussed the noise and the lights. So any other final comments from council? If not, then let's take a look at our motions, and I will entertain. We're going to go 5 of them here, friends. So
I'll start with
everybody gets a chance. So
motion to adopt the resolution approving the preliminary plat, conditional use permits, and site plan and building materials requests for Victoria Gateway East.
we have a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. I will consider another motion, please.
I'll move to adopt the resolution authorizing submittal of a comprehensive plan amendment to the Metropolitan Council.
We have a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Councilmember Rife, how about number 3?
Motion to adopt ordinance 482ZC, rezoning the property from R1 low-density residential to central business district.
We have a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Councilmember Roberts. your
Motion
turn
to adopt the ordinance 483ZC, amending section 31-3 of the Victoria Zoning Code.
We have a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
Move to adopt the resolution authorizing summary of publication ordinances 482 and 483ZC.
Thank you, Councilmember Pedersen. We have a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Very good. We're moving on to item 6.2, which is to accept the bids and award a contract for the Central Green improvements for the Downtown West Phase 1. Presenting on that item this evening is our city engineer, Kara Guerin.
That's great. Yeah.
Ms. Guerin, whenever you're ready.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. As I previously indicated, I have 8,000 slides to go through on this item, so I'll get going. Nobody's in a hurry to go watch any football in this room, I'm sure of it. We've talked about this previously, this project, so I am not going to go through it in great detail. We covered it briefly in your council packet, but on Friday, we opened bids for the Central Green Improvement Project. So specifically what was included in the scope of that project was constructing half of the Central Green parking lot adjacent to the Olivine building and the underground stormwater chamber treatment facility that we reviewed previously. That portion of the project will get constructed yet this fall. And then also included in that bid package is completion of the sidewalk along Steiger Lake Lane. So Steiger Lake Lane itself, as a reminder, is getting built with the 5 and 11 project. But that project is federally funded, so we did not include construction of sidewalk, lighting, landscaping. We didn't want to federalize the construction of those elements. So this bid package from Friday includes constructing of those improvements as well as along the south side of the road between the curb and gutter that's going in with the 5 and 11 project and the trail that's going in with the 5 and 11 project. We're putting in lighting and landscaping. Those elements will get built in 2026. I was pretty concerned about this bid opening because we were bidding a project in September, asking a contractor to come in and build this infrastructure adjacent to an apartment building under construction on top of another contractor building a $12 million highway improvement project. So I was not sure what was going to happen. Pleased to report that we got 9 bids, which was quite shocking. And we were very happy to report that the low bidder was Minger Construction, who is the contractor for the 5 and 11 project, which is going to make all of our lives a lot easier, both for Olivine and for the 5 and 11 project, that we will have the same contractor working in the same sandbox as the 5 and 11 contract. Their bid did come in 18% below the engineer's estimate. Because they're already mobilized and on site, that's why we were able to see such a good discount by having them complete the work. So with that, the total estimated project cost for this project is $995,000. When I say for this project, I do mean for this specific project. We will have another project that we will need to complete to build out the other half of the Central Green. We need to figure out the timing of that once the Downtown West project that's starting to move through the approval process. I think that's in front of you on the 22nd. So staff's got to come back and figure out when it makes sense to build this other half. I'm not including that in this total project cost that I have listed here, even though we've been doing some of the engineering work that the council previously authorized for that. It's a little difficult to define what the total project cost was for this one. But this project that we have in front of us that you would be authorizing tonight will get paid for. We have $900,000 in the bank from the Olivine project that will be used towards this, and then I'll be working with Trish to confirm exactly how we're going to finalize the funding for the remaining $95,000 out of street funds and stormwater funds once I can more fully vet through the numbers that I got on Friday. So with that, we would be looking for a motion to accept the bids and award a contract to Minger.
Very good. Thank you so much, Ms. Guerin. That is exciting news. That's perfect. Council, questions, comments?
Maybe we've went over this before, in the dumb question, but why do we not want to do the whole all at once? Like, is it just like you're talking about the Western development? Is
so
more to like
we
flow with them better?
We're going to locate another underground stormwater facility underneath this half of the parking lot, and we need Carl's project to be actually into the preliminary plat design phase so we know what elevation to put the other chamber at. And we could not possibly figure that out fast enough. Okay. We need to have this parking complete by March so that because Olivine's ahead of schedule, as part of our obligation under the development agreement, we'd like them to have somewhere to park when their residents are trying to move in. when they're leasing. So we owe them 16 spots in our development agreement. So,
Thank you.
yes.
I just couldn't remember why.
Yep.
How many are going to be hit with that parking lot right there?
32,
Thank you.
about 32.
Other questions, comments? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion.
Motion to adopt Resolution 2025-54, a resolution accepting bids and awarding a contract for the Central Green Improvements Project to Minger Construction Company, Inc.
Very good. We have a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. There are no more items on our regular agenda this evening, so we'll move on to reports and emerging issues. Attorney Vos, you're up first.
Go Vikes. I got nothing.
Okay, very good. Ms. Hardy, anything from staff?
None from staff, Madam Mayor.
And members of the council, anything from the members of the council this evening? All right, seeing none, I will then entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We stand adjourned.